Hello everyone. With this demonstration, I'm going to explain the workflow that you'll go through in order to complete your Hallmark assessment task. You'll see us here right at our home page. As I've mentioned, all of our weekly work are in Word files, but they also refer to, every one of them refers to course content sessions. Like I say, you're going to use this document to develop your KSA inventory. That's knowledge, skills, and abilities. You'll use this form to actually start writing what job you've had here. You would list the responsibilities in that job and any KSAs acquired from that job, just as you would in any resume that you would create for a potential employer. Only now you're going to start listing these in chronological order from the most recent to the furthest back that you think that you would need. So you would list the job here, the responsibilities here, and the KSAs for that particular job here. And since this is a word table, those cells will expand as you type into them. So you list whatever jobs that you would deem appropriate that you think you would use to get college credit for. So you do that first. But there's also other ways of getting college credit. You can also list your experiences in any community or religious activities. Say you were a PTA, PTO chairman, that would show leadership ability. Well, that would probably be organizational, but if you're leading a Bible study group at a religious group, or if you worked at a community shelter. So you would list these community and religious activities here, any memberships that you have, and even any hobbies or recreational pastimes. So you would list those here, and then you have other skills also. You would list your expertise in these areas. So you have any office skills that you have. Let's say you're an expert in Excel, maybe, or in creating PowerPoint demonstrations. Do you have any artistic talent that you could pull from? And here's where this could be important: any management-related skills that you have had, any communication skills, any public speaking or certain writing skills that you have, technical skills, interpersonal skills. So these are the skills that you would document in this area. So to recap, before we move on, in chronological order from the most recent to as far back as you think you need to go, you would list the job, its responsibilities, and the knowledge, skills, and abilities you acquired from that job, and you would list those in each one of these cells. And then again, your experiences, expertise in these areas, and again, in these actual skills themselves and talents themselves in this area. So after you complete that, like I say, this is a worksheet. You're actually going to turn this information into a chronological resume, most recent first, listing the job and the work-related experiences, then describe the KSAs learned in the process of that work. And you could use bulleted list. So here's where you're actually going to create the first part of your hat, which is a resume that based on this KSA inventory worksheet. I've actually got a sample file for that. So this is the first part of your hat. This is the title page, and it's already in APA format. You'll notice you have a running the header, the running head here, and the title page formatted properly. You would just simply put your name there. So this will be for the entire hat. But the first part of the hat is your resume. So this person developed this resume from the KSA inventory worksheet. And it's just like any other resume that you might have seen. So it lists the company here, and the dates, and then what the job was, in this case senior analyst, and then what was the responsibilities listed right here. So in the same company, there was another job, quality and compliance analyst. There again, the date. And then there was another company this person worked for where they were a quality assurance manager. And there again, listed the KSAs. So the idea is to develop all of this from the KSA inventory worksheet and use that as the first part of your resume. Actually, starting right here, this reference page would go at the very end of your entire hat. The rest of this would be your work autobiography, where you write about the pertinent aspects of those jobs that you've listed in the resume. So let's go back to the KSA inventory worksheet that explains the rest of the directions. So you're going to use this list that you've created here as a start to browse through O-Net and maybe other college catalogs to find how the expertise you've developed equates to the subjects taught for academic credit. Keep in mind that it is not the experience that is important, but what you learned from that experience. It's not how many years you worked, but what you learned from work. Because this is what you're going to write about in Task 6. So in this case, you're going to define the major expertise from your education and work life history. You look at the KSAs you learned that support this expertise. You could consider the competencies in your program competency self-assessment that you filled out earlier and the descriptions in O-Net. So you would select one aspect of your experience to write that reflection about what you learned across several jobs. In other words, what's one particular aspect that you're going to write about that you're going to apply college credit for? And then across several jobs, how does that relate? So you will organize this into a lifelong learning narrative with introduction, body, specific examples, and conclusions. There again, you'll structure the writing with Kolb learning cycle. The resulting paper is the lifelong learning narrative, and that will be actually graded from the rubric. But let's take a quick look at O-Net. I'm just going to type in accounting. Hit enter. There's a number of different jobs that you would have had if you have been an accountant over the years. There's bookkeeping, accountants. Find the one that's the most appropriate. But let's look at accountants. It gives you the information that you need that you can also refer to. Here's the task that an accountant performed. Here's some of the technology skills. Here's the knowledge, skills, and abilities. So it's a reference that you can refer to support what you are going to write in your KSA worksheet and your first part of your hat, which is the resume. One thing you'll do is take a look at this job zone. This particular one is in job zone 4, and that's important because you can acquire upper level credit for jobs 4 and 5. If it lists job zones 1 through 3, you can apply for lower level credit. But like I say, there is a video for this, and you need to watch the O-Net video on how to use this. It goes through an example of my particular O-Net, the jobs that I researched on O-Net. One thing you want to do is make sure that you have this reference number that you'll refer to, because you'll need that in your worksheets later. And you need to be able to print this out as a PDF file. So let's go back. Okay, this inventory worksheet is where you start for your entire hat project. You'll develop your inventory here with your job responsibilities and KSAs. You can refer to O-Net as a reference for those, and then list any of your experiences or expertise here, any of the talents and skills that you have here, and you'll then use that to create a chronological resume. Okay, so this explains how to use the KSA inventory worksheet, giving you some examples on an actual first part of the resume, and then showed you where you can find some specific examples of Hallmark assessment tasks that list the resume and the work autobiography section. One thing you'll notice when you look at those files, there is a rubric at the very beginning. That's what I will actually grade it by whenever you upload that document to LiveText. Okay, so that's all for now.